I seen you on, I think, the Joe Budden podcast where they tapped in about it as far as like feeling like having an obligation to a certain way. But do you even feel like that? It's because I do the podcast and then sometimes I try to steer away from certain content because it's just me. But I'm a gang member, so you know what I'm saying? So I understand it, you know what I'm saying, a little bit differently. Do it be times where you kind of just be like, well, shoot, these dudes up here, they gonna talk what they gonna say. I ain't, you know what I mean? Like I'm not really gonna steer them in the right kind of talk. I'm gonna let them do what they do. Or is it, do you feel like, all right, let me try to make sure I can get them to kind of show themselves in a different light? Because you know these cameras, niggas say certain shit and you can't take it back. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it is weird because it's like you got somebody like AD or T-Rail who clearly cares about their standing in the streets.
Yeah.
So it's like they are all on Twitch and everything now talking about all kinds of messy shit. But it's like they also have it in their head that they don't want to cross this line of like disrespecting somebody or whatever. And I'm sure, you know, bro, if you had like a really big death in like the LA rapper community right now, it's like they would talk about it, but you know they're gonna be pretty careful about how they talk about it, including shit like, you know, like there's been situations in recent memory where somebody gets killed and it's like heavily rumored who did it, and you can't, like, if you're like an LA rap participant, you can't say, man, fuck the dudes who did this. Like even if that's how you feel, it's like everybody kind of knows that there's all these little rules about how you gonna like survive out here, right? Is that even if you feel super strongly about something, you're not gonna put that shit on Instagram, right?
Hell no.
So I mean, yeah, it has been interesting to see because somebody like AD is like kind of learning the game of like, he knows that it's gonna be boring if he's talking about this big heated thing that just happened and he just completely holds back. Yeah. But he also doesn't want to violate the fucking morals that he grew up with, just like any of us, which is like, it's interesting now because you get to see all these street dudes or like dudes who come from the streets having to sort of figure out how to play that and navigate it. But it would be so easy to just not talk about shit. You know, it's like, to me, it's like I have to try to have real conversations and logical conversations about shit that's going on without really worrying that much about who I offend, but also not really going out of my way to try to offend anybody, you know?
The real thing too, I think that's really instrumental about your show and who you are as a person, and it seems like the atmosphere you've created is that you have people from a multitude of backgrounds, but they're all authentic. That's the one thing I can see they give their true version of themselves. If you're talking about Flacco, you're talking about Gina, you're talking about Sharp, you're talking about AD, you're talking about House Phone. All these people, the true essence of who they are, you allow that to come across on that platform. But I do want to say that, was that something that you did strategically? Because it seems like 85 to 90% of your staff are black people. And I don't know if you just reached out like, I just love those personalities, or if it was something because I'm in the hip hop culture, you did purposely.
Well, I think that number one, if you're going to run like a hip hop media company, I mean, if a large percentage of your staff isn't black or Mexican or whatever, it's just like realistically, that just feels kind of stupid to me because it's like they're probably going to have a vantage point on the culture that a white person isn't necessarily going to have. There's been times where I've sent like a news thing to the team and Gina was like, I don't think we should post that. And like the thing that comes to mind is, I forget who it was. It was some rapper who said, it was like when Jake Paul beat Nate Robinson. I said, and he was like, somebody was like, "Oh hell yeah, Jake Paul can say the N-word now." And I thought it was kind of funny. I thought it would be a good post because it's like if you don't assume it's a joke and you just read that title, like so and so says Jake Paul can say the N-word now. I thought that was a really funny title, and then Gina was kind of like, "I don't think it was a good idea," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I can see that. That might look a little weird, like we're endorsing it or whatever." So it's like, I wouldn't say it's like a super intentional thing because we do have white people that work for us and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, to me, it's like I think the standard might be a little harder on a white host because it's like I'm already bringing a lot of Caucasian energy to the show. And it's like if you're going to be on this show and you're going to be white, then you probably need to like
know a little something.
Your knowledge is going to have to really be there, you know?